can show you a little bit of what I've been working on in the last couple of months, which is investigating on the conscious states of consciousness and Vedic sound. Um, I'll I'll try to be as explicit here as I can on the things that have been directly from ancient books and where I'm trying to extrapolate in order to understand a little bit more. So let me see. Let's get started with this. So here in the West, we talk about the mind as, you know, anything that is not the body, basically. But in India, there's a long-standing tradition of breaking it down into different parts. And I would like to talk to you a little bit about these parts because we'll be building up upon it. So manas, or you know what they call the mind, is that part that of the mental faculties that we have for accepting or rejecting. It's basically that part of us that says I like this or I don't like this. The buddhi, or the intelligence or the intellect, it is that rational part of us that determines the nature of something. You know, what is this object, or what is the action that I have to take at a specific point. The ahankar, or the false ego, is that sense of I that is built upon the externals. I am a man, I am a woman, I am a scholar, I am a politician, I am a Hindu, I am a Jain, I am a Christian, you know, I'm a Republican, or I'm a liberal, you know, all of these things that are externals, and that I built this sense of I, that is the ahankar. There's also the five organs of perception, which are the eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and skin, and the five organs of action, the mouth, the hands, the feet, the anus, and the genitals. Now, in these diagrams here, you will see that the buddhi, or the intelligence, is that part of us that has to do with determining the nature of something, but also within it is this thing called the chitta, or the memory, that is included within the buddhi, and also the manas, that part of us that, you know, accepts or rejects, that I like this, I don't like this. Within it is the ahankar, or the false ego. Now, why is that? Because this it is in the buddhi, has to call upon the chitta, upon the memory, in order to determine what something is. You know, when I look at something, I have to search through my memory bank to know, oh yeah, this is a dog, or this is a cat. I have to be, you know, to go through all of my references there. And when I'm determining with the manas, or with the mind, you know, I like this or I don't like this, I have to do it with respect to, I have to call upon the ahankar, the false ego, to know, oh yeah, this, you know, according to who I am, do I like this? You know, if for example, I'm a man who likes women, so it's like, you know, I have to go to the ahankar. This is what I am. Or if I'm if I am if I love rock music, oh yeah, because I'm a rockhead, you know, something, a metalhead, whatever. I always have to call upon the ahankar to see, you know, who I am and what do I like with respect to that. Now, the koshas, which is part of what we'll be talking about today, they are these sheets, or these layers that cover the atman, the self, the soul. And as you see here, they cover it, you know, like an onion, sort of. The the one that is most external, that's the anamoy kosha. This anamoy kosha is the gross body matter. This is very clear. But there's also other koshas, other sheets, other layers to it. For example, this pranamoy kosha. The pranamoy kosha is the energy body, if you want. The manamoy kosha is the mind, the manas. This gyanamoy kosha is the intellectual part, and then there's the anandamoy kosha, which is they call it the bliss body, or also the causal body. Now, how does this relate to what we just talked about in the previous one? Well, the manamoy kosha are the 5 vital forces, the vayus, right, with the 5 organs of action. That is the energy body, the pranamoy kosha. The manamoy kosha is the manas plus the 5 organs of perception. The vijnanamoya kosha is the buddhi, that the intellect, that rational part of us, plus the 5 organs of perception. That's why it's this manas and buddhi can be equated to almost the manamoy and the gyanamoy. And the anandamoy kosha is the false ego body. Now, if you look at this up generally on the internet, you will see so many misconceptions about, this is the bliss body, about what it is. But traditionally, in this is what it means, the false ego body. And why is it called the ananda? We would almost think that, well, isn't it the atman? Isn't it the soul itself? No, it is called ananda because of the fact that we talk about, I happily slept, I did not know anything. So this perception of when we wake up, that I just happily slept, I did not know anything. That is why they call it ananda kosha, anandamoy kosha. But it really has to do with the false ego, which is the one that covers the atman with its sense of the I in with respect to the externals. Now, these koshas, or these sheets, layers of bodies that cover the soul, when the physical body dies, it is the other 4 koshas that transmigrate with the soul to the next body. This is what we call the subtle body. The subtle body is made up of all these the pranamoy kosha, manamoy kosha, vijnanamoy kosha, and anandamoy kosha. These other 4 bodies are the ones that transmigrate with us from one body to the next. And how do they work together? Well, the vijnanamoy kosha, which has to do with the intellect, the rational part of us, is endowed with the power of knowledge because it's very close to the atman. And it is called, because of that, the agent, because of that power of knowledge. The manamoy kosha, which is the instrument, it is called an instrument because it is endowed with willpower. Now, why exactly is it that it's called the instrument here? Well, only when the manas is attached to an object does a person actually perceive it. You can think of it when we're like driving and also daydreaming. Sometimes we may go from one place to another and not even remember how we got there. Like we were not conscious throughout anything like that. That is because the manamoy kosha was not there. The manas was not attached to the different objects that were going on around us. So it is we need it as an instrument to be able to have a conscious perception of something. And the pranamoy kosha is endowed with activity, and this is called the product. So the agent is the one that formulates something to be done. The mana moy kosha has to be the one that is used in order to focus on the task, so that it can become conscious. And then the pranamoy kosha is that product that comes from these actions. Now, if you remember a little bit about Western intellectualism, there's a very famous philosopher called Descartes, who in 1649, postulated this thing that is called the mind-body problem. What is that mind-body problem? Well, he said, well, there is this thing that I called the mind, or res cogitans, things that think. And then there is this other thing that is called the body, which has extension, res extensa. And the two are very different. You cannot derive one from the other. But the problem is that he could not find how the mind and the body interact. How is it that they interact? And there were other theories along this time, which was monism, where which is different from the monism of India. When we talk about dualism or monism here, it's about dualism of mind-body or monism of mind-body. This other one, which was carried on by people like John Locke, of monism of mind-body, said that, well, there's only body, there's only physicalism, and the mind just, is something that derives from the body. Because of the fact that Descartes was not able to bring this any further, then this idea of the dualism sort of got stuck and died there with him, while the one of John Locke and others continued on in what we see in science today. Now, the problem was that Descartes did not know about the prana, which is the mind-body connection. This prana, this prana kosha, which is the energy body, which and is between the manamoy kosha and the anamoy kosha, right? Between the mind and the gross body, is that link that he was looking for. The pranamoy kosha is the link between the physical body and the subtle mind. Now, we have known about this for thousands of years. If you have studied yoga, you will have come across this technique called pranayama, which is how to control the mind through the body. This pranayama is an ancient technique of breathing to be able to control the body. And if you know, there's the famous saying that if you're feeling angry, just breathe and count to 10. Well, this is sort of, like trying to use that pranamoy kosha in order to control the mind. Also, you might remember martial arts and especially like Kung Fu, which uses the techniques of Qigong. Qigong is something that they use in order to control the body through the mind. Here you see some Shaolin monks, and they have these bamboo sticks, which they place right on the throat, actually in between the two collarbones, which is a very sensitive area where you can get choked. They put these bamboo sticks, and they come together. This would generally suffocate a person very easily, but you can see that it's nothing's happening to them. And one of them is also getting choked. Besides getting choked by these two, he's also getting beaten by another guy. He's controlling his body through his mind. So how is he doing this? Because they work with this energy, with this chi, with this prana, with this energy. This pranamoy kosha is where we feel hunger, thirst. When we're saying like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, it is where is it that we're feeling it? We're feeling it in the pranamoy kosha. Also, when you wake up full of energy, like you did this morning to come to the seminar, and you felt energetic, that energy that you feel in your body is you're feeling it in the pranamoy kosha. Also, when you're depleted in energy, when you feel, oh, I'm drained, it is the pranamoy kosha that is feeling drained. Now, how do we connect to prana with consciousness? Consciousness is spread throughout the body by the presence of prana. Wherever the prana flows, there we are conscious of that. And opposite to that, where prana does not flow, there is no movement or awareness of that part. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says that the soul pervades the whole body with consciousness. Well, how does it do that? It does it through the prana. We could also say that this understanding this prana better could help us understand paralysis better. You might remember, like when you're sitting down and sometimes your foot falls asleep. Well, what is happening there? According to Western medicine, you would say that you were putting pressure on your nerves, and because of that, your brain did not was cut off for some time from your foot. According to the Sankhya philosophy, what happened was that the prana was cut off, and because of that, your foot fell asleep, and you did not have consciousness of that foot anymore. As soon as you let the prana flow again, then you felt you had awareness of your foot once again. And also, when people who have paralysis, of one limb or half their body or whatever, it is this prana that has been stopped from going there in somehow or other. We could also say that this could explain phantom limbs, people that still feel, some of their organs, even though they have been amputated by some reason. These phantom limbs is because the limb is not there. The physical, the anamoy kosha is not there, but the pranamoy kosha is still there. So that's what they're feeling. Now, let us go a little bit more into the states of consciousness. According to Sankhya, there are 4 and actually 5 states of consciousness. One is Jagrat, which is the waking state. That whenever you're awake, that is your Jagrat. There's the Svapna, which is the dreaming state. And if you've been following me, hopefully you're in the Jagrat and not in the Svapna state of consciousness. And there's the Sushupti, which is the dreamless sleep. And there's a 4th one that is called the Turiya, or trance. And there's a 5th one, according to Baladev Vidyabhushan, which is called Turiyatita, and it's also a type of trance. And I will explain a little bit better, what is the difference between these 2 types of trance in just a moment. So the Jagrat, the waking state, is when the senses are active, when the manas is active. The manas is that, I like this, I don't like this. The buddhi, which is the rational part, the intellect, is active. And the ahankar, the sense of I, the false ego, is active, right? The svapna, the dreaming state, can be either lucid or non-lucid. Generally, it is talked about as non-lucid, and it is said that the senses are inactive as opposed to the Jagrat, and the buddhi, the rational part of us, is inactive. Now, here's where I started looking into a little bit of, well, what is lucid dreaming and what is non-lucid dreaming? This is where part of my where I start using these elements to understand things that are not directly talked about in the Shastra. So if you think about what lucid dreaming is, lucid dreaming is really when the buddhi becomes active, when that rational part of us becomes active in the dream. Before that, what happens? Generally, dreams, when you're in non-lucid dreaming, your dreams don't make sense. You wake up and you say like, oh my God, how could I, that was such a weird dream. How could I ever think that that was possible, right? Well, it's because the buddhi, that rational part of us, was inactive. It was off. But as soon as that buddhi turns on, becomes active in the dream, then we suddenly realize like, oh, I am dreaming. I'm in a dream. And then we start doing things that we want there. There are people that do a lot of lucid dreaming, and because of that, they don't feel rested. And that is because the buddhi, that rational part of us, is the one that needs the rest. That is the part that needs rest. And also, if you remember from the beginning of the lecture, I said that the buddhi also includes within it the chitta, or the memory. So generally, people that don't get a lot of sleep, their memory starts failing, right? It's not so sharp. That is why they tell you before an exam, get good sleep. Why? Because your buddhi is going to need it tomorrow. So this is what happens. That lucid, also people who do a lot of lucid dreaming, they will tell you how they're able to do all of these wonderful things, but sometimes they start losing understanding of what is real and what is unreal. Why? Because the senses here are the only ones that are inactive. So basically you train yourself, those people that do lucid dreaming a lot and consciously, what they're trying to do is they're consciously trying to learn how to turn on that buddhi during their sleep, which is generally supposed to be inactive. Now let's talk about the altered states of consciousness. So before that, let's understand what is sushupti, or the dreamless state. The dreamless sleep is when the senses are inactive, the buddhi, or the rational part, is also inactive, and also now here the manas, the mind, is inactive, because the mind is the one that previously, during the lucid or non-lucid dreaming, was the one that was feeding all of these things of I like, I don't like, and all of that weird stuff. That was the mind. When you have this sushupti, only your ahankar, your false ego, is active. That is why when you wake up, you feel like, oh, I don't remember anything. I only know that I happily slept. It was the ahankar, the false ego, the one that was feeling it. This ahankar, which makes up the anandamoy kosha, or the causal body. Now, what is this trance? Or there are two types of trance. The more commonly known, which is a turiya, is different from sushupti. That's when you turn off the senses, you turn off the manas, you turn off the buddhi, and you also turn off the ahankar. So the people who are doing meditation, what they're trying to do is turn off that ahankar. Now, their senses are not active. If a person that is in trance is not aware of what is going on around them, that person is also not thinking about anything. So the rational part, the buddhi, is inactive. And that person is also not just like going from a thought to another. So the manas is also off. They're in a state of turiya, or trance. But then there is a fifth state, which is the turiyatita. In there, the yogi has been able to turn off the ahankar, turn off that false ego. And the senses may be active or inactive. The manas may be active or inactive, and the buddhi may be active or inactive. The thing is that ahankar becomes inactive. So even though they may be going throughout their day, they're in a state of trance. This is what devotees that are very advanced, that they're consciously in that state of trance, and in connection with God. Whether you see them talking to you, or whether they're asleep, or whether they're in deep sleep, they're always in connection with God. Now let's talk about another state of consciousness, which is hallucinations. It's an interesting one. Hallucination, and again, this is where I'm putting in, a little bit of extrapolation based on these elements, because it's not directly talked about in the Shastras, but you can understand it this way. We can think of hallucinations as the buddhi being inactive. Everything else is active, but the buddhi is inactive. So you can think of then hallucinations sort of like dreaming, but still like this. You can think of this non-lucid dreaming, right? That we have in the left. It's just like that non-lucid dreaming, but you turn on the senses. So you're having this very weird experience. Why? Yeah, because your buddhi is not active. And generally, when you're asleep, it's coming from past impressions. But here in the hallucination, you're getting direct feed from the senses. So what generally happens in hallucination is, for example, when people take drugs, what is that drug is doing to them? These psycho drugs, they turn off the rational part, the buddhi, in a person, and then you start seeing all of these visions and everything. Is basically you're dreaming, but your senses are on. During that time, other beings can come and interact with the person who's hallucinating, just as if he or she was dreaming. And generally, there is no new information that comes from hallucinations. Just like no new information comes from dreams on a normal basis, right? So people that try to use hallucinogens in order to say that, oh, I'm spiritual, generally what they're doing is they're just going into a dream. And you can understand that because no new information is coming to them. It's always something that they would have thought, or that they accept. Now, the last part of what I'll be talking about today is the connection between prana and Vedic sound. There are 4 types of Vedic sound, and we'll go through them. The vak is that external sound. I like to also talk about sound as information, because that you can translate it better as information. So this vak, this external sound, right? It's encoded in the pressure waves of air. Air is the medium. So if you see down here, you can see these pressure waves, and they're encoding the information of maybe this beautiful bird singing. And these this pressure waves of air come to our ear. So that is the vak. The vak is the information, the sound, but the air is the medium. Now, And here, um, so what is madhyama? Madhyama is the sound in the mana moy kosha. Basically, it's thoughts. Information in the mana moy kosha are thoughts, right? So here's where I do some extrapolation to understand how is it that the mind that subtle mind connects with the gross body. How is it that the prana does that? Well, you can think of the prana. Prana is a type of air, right? The prana is the medium, just as air was the medium for the Vak. Now prana is the air, the medium for the madhyama. So when the body is having like this information coming into it from the outside in terms of Vak, then the prana brings that information. It is that medium by which it brings it from the gross body to the subtle mind, to the manamoy kosha. The prana is encoding that madhyama sound. There's another type of sound that is called pashanti. This pashanti is the sound in the viginamoy kosha. Sometimes it's also said that this is the intuition, right? Now, where does this pashanti come from? This is also now a little bit of extrapolation, because this pashanti, this intuition, doesn't really come from us. Intuition is not something that you work on. It's something that just like appears there. You sometimes don't know how it appeared there. You may be working on a problem for months, and suddenly in one moment it comes all to you. How did it come to you? Where did it come from? Well, this pashanti comes from the collective universal buddhi. You can think of this collective universal buddhi as like a cloud, in cloud computing. You connect to that universal buddhi, and you can download information from that universal buddhi, and remember that the buddhi within it has the chitta, or the memory. So from it you can download information, and people that are very intuitive, you can see that you can sometimes see that many inventors or many scientists have come up with the same with the same idea at the same time, and you go like, oh wow, and this goes on very very much more often than we think. For example, Newton, when he came up with this with the idea of calculus, he wasn't the only one that did it. There was another French philosopher that also came up with that idea of calculus at about the same time. So this intuition that later is developed in the mind, in the manas, first comes to the Vijnanamoy kosha through in this pashanti. You can think of it, examples of it, like Mozart's genius. It is said that he used to have dinner and then take a walk. And when he was walking, he said ideas of all these concerts would just come to his head immediately, and he had to run home to sit down and write it down. He said that sometimes even like two concerts would come, like be downloading, and he would just like be trying to like write it all down before it would go away. We can also view this as a way to understand remote viewing. What people that do remote viewing, they basically tap into the collective that collective universal buddhi, to that universal information that is out there. And then there's the final type of sound, which is the para. Now, para is a transcendental sound. It comes from beyond the material world. And it goes then, it comes to us in, through the Pashanti, the into the Vijnanamoy, through then it goes into the Madhyama, the medium of prana, brings it up to the external, the Vak, and then we sing, we chant. So the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is, and many other mantras like Om and such, they come from beyond the material world. Finally, I'm just going to talk a little bit about prana and embryology. In embryology, we don't really know exactly how, from the DNA information, the cells are able to know which ones are to become specialized into what and where. We know that there's a fertilized egg and starts dividing into all of these cells. But then how do the cells in one part know that they have to become a brain, and these other ones know that they have to become that they have to become a liver or a lung or a foot, whatever. How do the different cells know which ones, like what is that thing that is coordinating them? Because the DNA is just in one, in the DNA is shared by all of them. So what is that thing that coordinates them, that tells them you become this, you become that? It is not very clear. Now we may think about this in terms of prana, and what comes out from it is that the embryo development may be facilitated by the prana. The prana is directing the cells as to, this one goes here, this one goes there, and the blueprint for all of this is the manas. The manas, which in the previous life, developed, now in this life is fulfilling it through the prana, directing the cells as to how they should move according to that blueprint in the manas. So that is all for now. I've left a couple minutes for questions, because I'm sure that this is quite a lot of information, and a lot of people may be having like a lot of thoughts already going through their heads.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
I have an experience of lucid dreaming, in which I dreamt I was a Greek soldier and I fell down, but still I was feeling the pain after waking from the dream in the legs. So what was that?
Again, the lucid dreaming.
Yes.
Say that again.
Yes, I can hear. In the lucid
Okay.
dreaming, I fell down, and after waking up from the dream, the same leg was paining in dream which I felt.
Yeah. So in the lucid dreaming, as I said, what happens is that the mind, the mind is active, but also the buddhi becomes active. At the point where the you become aware of these things, you may have the mind might have been feeding you either information of, it could be either information of something that actually happened to you in a previous life, or it could be something just that it was imagining. because of maybe impressions that you've had during your waking state. To be able to know whether it was a previous life or just impressions from your waking state, you would have to go a little bit deeper into it. Why was your leg paining when you woke up? Well, the mind is a very very powerful thing, and you can if you, you can actually feel pain in a dream, and it can manifest externally. If a person becomes very stressed, it's just something of the mind. Stress is just something of the mind, right? But that stress can affect the body. Your shoulders become very tense. You're to the point where your neck may be hurting. So if in the dream, if the dream was very, very vivid, such as in the lucid dreaming, your mind may make your limbs feel that pain. That's how I would think about it.
I also experienced some sleep paralysis type. So what was that means? Sleep.
There are different things that can happen with sleep paralysis. One thing is that let me ask you this. Were you able to when you say sleep paralysis, do you mean by the fact that you wake up but you cannot
Yes,
move your body?
Some entity was pressing me. I was trying to wake up, but he was not allowing me to do so. My whole body was paralyzed. Only eyes were working.
That happens. That's something that is actually common, but not so much talked about. That there are entities. These entities are generally like ghosts. Ghosts have a prana moy kosha, right? Their bodies are made of vayu, and so they enter into us because they're air, right? And they can arrest our pranamoy kosha because they're made of air. Their bodies are made of air. They can enter into us and they can play around. They can disrupt to some degree that air that is flowing in us, which is the pranamoy kosha. And so when we are trying to like move something, they're meddling with our pranamoy kosha. So that's why we cannot move. We're sending all of this information. The manamoy kosha is trying to send information to the anamoy kosha, to the gross body, but because that layer in between, the pranamoy kosha, has been affected, then it can that's why we cannot control our body. That's why we become paralyzed. I hope that helps.
Yes, and I was having operation of tongue in 9th grade. So while operating, I saw my own body only when I was given anesthesia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that goes more into astral projection. I did not talk about astral projection because that brings us into a whole nother topic, and I'll talk about it in a different session. But this altered state of consciousness, which is when you astral project, you come out of your body, of your gross body, your anamoy kosha. Now, if that was all that, if everything came out, your body would immediately start deteriorating. So the pranamoy kosha also has to stay in order to maintain the life functions of the body. So when a person comes out, what happens is that they're extending their pranamoy kosha. And the silver cord that sometimes people talk about when they're astral projecting that silver cord is what connects the projected pranamoy kosha with the one that stayed in the body. And when you're looking at your body, what happens is that your atman, you are there outside of your anamoy kosha. Your the vijnana is also there with you, because you're able to understand what's going on. Your manamoy is also there because you can accept things, project things like that. And your pranamoy kosha is there outside and inside your body as well. And you're able to see yourself because what was down there, what was left was the gross body with the energy body. Okay, I see that there are a lot of questions that are starting to also come around. Would you like to sort these out for me, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay, so to see like which questions I should talk about here. Okay, or otherwise I'll just go in the order in which they appear. What impact does the Hare Krishna Mahamantra have on consciousness? So the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, as I said, is a mantra that is not just an external sound. It's not just vak. It's the fourth type of sound. It is the vara. And because it comes from out there, the way that it impacts the consciousness is that it raises the consciousness. It raises the consciousness in both in the sense of bringing it to more sattvic levels, but it also starts bringing us into if we are able to concentrate on it, it will bring us to that fifth state, which is the turiyatita. That trance that I talked about. That there are two types of trance. There's the turiya and the turiyatita. The one that the way that you get to that fifth state, the turiyatita, in which you're able to turn off the ahankar, your false ego, but everything else may be on or off. That is what the Hare Krishna Mahamantra does. Malika Jane asks, was when we talked about Svapna dreams, what about vision events come true, or else people who felt time travel thing? Okay, so yeah, I did not talk about this. What about when in dreams there people are able to see the future, right? There are different types of dreams. I talked about just two types of them, which was the normal one and the lucid dreaming. But there's another one, which is when you're able to actually see the future and like that. And there are others in which you are able to have contact, with spiritual personalities and actually get information from them. It is possible, yeah, to get new information. It is possible to especially see the future in some cases. It is not by lucid dreaming. I have been in lucid dreaming and I have tried to look into the future, and it does not work, because that is some information that comes from being able to read into the future. Basically, when when a mystic, but what happens when a mystic is able to say like, oh, I can see your future and this is what it is. Generally, if they're a real mystic, if they are a real yogi, a real mystic, what they're doing is that they're reading your karmas, and they're seeing where your karmas are going, where they're leading, just like in astrology. But they're able to see it, through your directly to you. They don't need an astrological chart. They're able to go into the cloud, into that special type of how do you call it, universal buddhi, and they can see what is it, what is the information that it has there on you. Basically the same thing that the astrologer does, but they can see it through that cloud. And when you're sleeping and you get information, you're getting that, sometimes you're able to connect to that cloud, unconsciously, of course, but you're able to connect to that cloud. And you can see those events that are predestined by your karmas. So that is what's going on. Let me see. The deja vu. The deja vu is basically like what happens in deja vu is you connect to that cloud, right? You got that information, and sometimes you remember it when you wake up, and sometimes you do not. But now it stays in your body, and when you see it, you go like, oh yeah, I've seen this before, because you already connected to the cloud. You already looked at those karmas which were going to happen. Again, these are the same things that an astrologer would tell you, and then you actually see it. So that is how deja vu works. Now, how can we develop our ability of intuition? Well, that's a big question, right? There's so many techniques that people have out there as to how to develop it. I have not come up yet in my studies of specific techniques from the Shastras as to how to do it, but there's tons of techniques that people have developed, and if you search on the internet, you can find some of that. Vanshika, in case of a person suffering from schizophrenia, what happened? Well, schizophrenia, yeah, that's also a big one. A person with schizophrenia, they may think that there's a lot of things that may be happening, right? In schizophrenia, it's the wonderful thing about this Sankhya philosophy is that and Vedanta philosophy is that it allows us to understand these things. Now we have some tools to understand these things better. That's what I wanted to convey through all of this that I talked about today, that we do have tools to look at these things in new ways that psychologists have not seen before. Schizophrenia, we can think of it as maybe a person sometimes that is diagnosed with schizophrenia. Maybe what they're experiencing is that they're seeing other people. They're seeing other people that we do not see. Sometimes, they get these the ability to see ghosts, or and see into other realms. And so, they're having this this thing, where they're seeing and nobody else sees it. Or it may be that they're in a state of hallucination that comes in and out. So their buddhi turns off and things happen, and then it comes back on, and then it comes back off, and then it comes back on, to the point where they don't know, when they're hallucinating and when they're not. So that could be something that may also be happening with people with schizophrenia. Now when I'm doing all this, again, I'm just trying to work with the information that I have here. Schizophrenia is not talked about in the Shastras, but these are just like ways that I'm trying to understand it, that I've thought about it when just by using these elements. You are all free to also use this information that I just gave you to try to understand things better. And maybe if you encounter some of these things in the Shastra, I would be very happy to discuss that with you as well. I wanted to know if I can feel each of the 5 pranas or not. Yeah, there's the different types of pranas, and in fact, according to the Yoga Sutras and commentaries of the Yoga Sutras, they explain how it is that a yogi is able to levitate. Have you ever asked yourself, how is it that a yogi is able to levitate? The reason that he does it, according to the Yoga Sutras and their commentaries, is that that person is using their udana, which is the upward air, in order to lift themselves up. That is what's going on. They're specifically focusing in on the udana, which goes up, that upward air, and they're making it much stronger so that they can levitate. It's not that they're fighting gravity. It's not that they're canceling gravity. It's just that just like a helicopter, sort of. They're just like lifting up because of that air. Do we actually time travel when we're dreaming? No, we do not time travel. As I explained before, if you're able to see into the future or into the past, is because when you're dreaming, is because you somehow or other were able to connect to that conscious universal consciousness, to that universal buddhi, that universal rational part that has memory in it. And so that you're just like an astrologer, it has all of your information there, just like your astrological chart. And so you were able to like directly get that information, and you see what's going to happen in front of you, or what happened in the past. So sometimes people are able to like see past lives, like the person who asked at the beginning, why I saw myself in this way. He may have been connecting and saw past life. I mentioned that he might have connected to the universal buddhi and saw one of his past lives, but you didn't really time travel. What you did is you got that information directly, and not indirectly, as an astrologer does it, almost the same, but here you got it in an experiential way. Dr. Om, what is the stage of coma in medical illness? Coma is the sushupti, is the point of the dreamless sleep. A person has, in that state of coma, the senses are inactive, their mind, their buddhi and their manas are inactive, and only their ahankara is active. So that's why when the person wakes up, it's like, oh, okay, I did not know anything. I happily slept. Selena, I also have experienced sleep paralysis. How to get rid of this? Well, it depends on what caused it, right? If it's from an entity that is attacking you, then it's important that you protect yourself. One of the ways that Bhakti Swami in his book Spiritual Warrior talks about this, and that you can protect yourself from other beings, is spiritualize your life as much as possible. like before going to sleep, for example, like you may perform some uh, reading of sacred scriptures, chanting of transcendental mantras, right? Listening to lectures on transcendental topics, basically raising your energy, raising it a lot, and raising it around you, like keeping your home very clean, very sattvic, very devotional, right? That basically making it uncomfortable for those other living entities to come into your place, making it a very sacred space. Chanting mantras of protection, like the ones for Narasimhadev, like that. All of these things are ways to do it. And that's one way. It may also be something that is going on through the mechanical, something that maybe if your pranamoy kosha may be disturbed at night, so then you would have to talk to maybe an Ayurvedic doctor. They may be able to help with that. Depending on how our pranamoy kosha is working. Sometimes it may do something like that. So then an Ayurvedic doctor may tell you better. Let's see. For the time of death, consciousness and past karma decides the next body. So when is it that we get the new body? And second, if we get a human body, then how does the shape, features of the body is decided? So it is explained that when we are going to go into a new body, right? That new body is already there. It's like a caterpillar. They say that it's like a caterpillar that is jumping from one leaf to another. Have you ever seen a caterpillar? They don't just like take a leap and jump and go to the other. No, they first start like walking into the other one, attaching themselves, and then they leave the other leaf and they continue. So it's not that they just like jump from one to the other, but they first grab on to the new leaf, then they leave the old leaf behind, and then they continue walking on the new leaf. So like that is explained what happens when we, at the time of death, at the moment that we're about to leave our body, already there's the next body waiting for us. What is it that is waiting? Well, the blueprint is already in the mind. The blueprint is the mind carries that manamoy kosha that is already there. Generally, what we're doing every single day of our lives is that we're changing that. We're changing that blueprint. That blueprint is already always updating, depending on the things that we come across. So if a person is suddenly dies at any moment, whatever is in the blueprint at that moment, that is what is going to come in the next body. So the yogis are very, very cautious about what they let into their consciousness, because they know that will decide the next, whatever you come in contact with. Any movies that you see, any literature that you read, any song that you listen to, any person you interact with, everything is affecting you. And everything that is, you're coming in contact with is affecting that blueprint. So the yogis are very specific about what they will come in contact with, because they want their next life. They want to leave, they want to break from the cycle of birth and death, and they want that. So everything that you do now is deciding that. If you were to die at this very moment, whatever was in the blueprint of your Manamoy Kosha, that's what's going to happen. And then how does the shape features of the body decide? That is how it's decided. When that Manamoy will then bring it into the fetus, and the Pranamoy Kosha is going to start directing all the cells to go into the different places of that new body that is going to happen. Okay, so I think that's all the questions. I hope that was okay. As I said, this is a new topic. I've been thinking about some of these things. There is speculation in some of these things, but because it's not directly talked about in the Shastras, but I think that this philosophical speculation is important because we need to use this knowledge. We need to see how to apply it to bigger schemes that we're probably we're not talking about. Probably they were talked about in other Shastras, but either they've been lost in time or it's just not there. But if we use this information, this is a very powerful tool to look at the world around us. Any books or paper written by you on this topic? Not at this moment. I am planning to, as I do these seminars and everything, and I do plan to then collect all of these things into a book eventually, into a forthcoming book. So thank you.